Rune 20 of the Kalevala. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Kalevala, compiled by Elias Lönnrot, translated by John Martin Crawford.
Rune 20, the brewing of beer. Now we sing the wondrous legends, songs of wedding feasts and dances. Sing the melodies of wedlock, sing the songs of old tradition. Sing of Ilmarinen's marriage to the maiden of the rainbow. Fairest daughter of the Northland, sing the drinking songs of Pohja. Long prepared they for the wedding in Pohjola's halls and chambers, in the courts of Sariola. Many things that Louis ordered. Great indeed the preparations for the marriage of the daughter, for the feasting of the heroes, for the drinking of the strangers, for the feeding of the poor folk. For the people's entertainment grew an ox in far Ʋැlɑ. Not the largest nor the smallest was the ox that grew in Suomi, but his size was all sufficient, for his tail was sweeping Namen, and his head was over Kemi, horns in length 100 fathoms. Longer than the horns his mouth was. 7 days it took a weasel to encircle neck and shoulders. 1 whole day a swallow journeyed from one horn tip to the other, did not stop between for resting. 30 days the squirrel travelled from the tail to reach the shoulders, but he could not gain the horn tip till the moon had long passed over. This young ox of huge dimensions, this great calf of distant Suomi, was conducted from Karelian to the meadows of Pohjola. At each horn 100 heroes, at his head and neck 1,000. When the mighty ox was lassoed, led away to Northland pastures, peacefully the monster journeyed by the bays of Sariola, ate the pasture on the borders. To the clouds arose his shoulders, and his horns to highest heaven. Not in all of Sariola could a butcher be discovered that could kill the ox for Louis. None of all the sons of Northland, in her hosts of giant people, in her rising generation, in the hosts of those grown older, came a hero from a distance, Virkanus from Karelian, and these words the greybeard uttered: "Wait, oh wait, thou ox of Suomi, till I bring my ancient war club, then I'll smite thee on thy forehead. Break thy skull, thou willing victim. Nevermore wilt thou in summer browse the woods of Sariola, bare our pastures, fields, and forests. Thou, ox, wilt feed no longer through the length and breadth of Northland, on the borders of this ocean." When the ancient Virkanus started out the ox to slaughter, when Paulvoinen swung his war club, quick the victim turned his forehead, flashed his flaming eyes upon him. To the fir tree leaped the hero. In the thicket hid Paulvoinen, hid the gray-haired Virkanus. Everywhere they seek a butcher, one to kill the ox of Suomi. In the country of Karelian, and among the Suomi giants, in the quiet fields of Estland, on the battlefields of Sweden, mid the mountaineers of Lapland, in the magic fens of Tyria, seek him in Tuoni's empire, in the death courts of Manala. Long the search and unsuccessful, on the blue back of the ocean, on the far outstretching pastures. There arose from out the sea waves, rose a hero from the waters, on the white-capped roaring breakers. From the waters' broad expanses, nor belonged he to the largest, nor belonged he to the smallest, made his bed within a seashell, stood erect beneath a flower sieve. Hero old, with hands of iron, and his face was copper-colored. Quick the hero, full unfolded, like the full corn from the kernel. On his head a hat of flintstone, on his feet were sandstone sandals, in his hand a golden cleaver, and the blade was copper-handled. Thus at last they found a butcher, found the magic ox a slayer. Nothing has been found so mighty that it has not found a master. As the sea-god saw his booty, quickly rushed he on his victim, hurled him to his knees before him, quickly felled the calf of Suomi, felled the young ox of Karelian. Bountifully meat was furnished. Filled at least 1,000 hogsheads of his blood were 7 boatfuls, and 1,000 weight of suet for the banquet of Pohjola, for the marriage feast of Northland. In Pohjola was a guest room, ample was the hall of Louis, was in length 100 furlongs, and in breadth was nearly 50. When upon the roof a rooster crowed at break of early morning, no one on the earth could hear him. When the dog barked at one entrance, none could hear him at the other. Louis, hostess of Pohjola, hastens to the hall and court-room. In the centre speaks as follows: "Whence indeed will come the liquor? Who will brew me beer from barley? Who will make the mead abundant for the people of the Northland, coming to my daughter's marriage, to her drinking feast and nuptials? Cannot comprehend the malting, never have I learned the secret, nor the origin of brewing." Spake an old man from his corner: "Beer arises from the barley, comes from barley, hops, and water. And the fire gives no assistance. Hop-vine was the son of Remu. Small the seed in earth was planted, cultivated in the loose soil, scattered like the evil serpents, on the brink of Kalev waters, on the Osmo fields and borders. There the young plant grew and flourished. There arose the climbing hop-vine, clinging to the rocks and alders. Man of good luck sowed the barley on the Osmo hills and lowlands, and the barley grew and flourished, grew and spread in rich abundance, fed upon the air and water, on the Osmo plains and highlands, on the fields of Kalev heroes. Time had traveled little distance ere the hops and trees were humming, barley in the fields was singing, and from Kalev as well the water, this the language of the trio. Let us join our triple forces, join to each the other's powers. Sad alone to live and struggle, little use in working singly. Better we should toil together. Osmotar, the beer preparer, brewer of the drink, refreshing, takes the golden grains of barley, taking 6 of barley kernels, taking 7 tips of hop fruit, filling 7 cups with water. On the fire she sets the cauldron, boils the barley, hops, and water, lets them steep and seethe and bubble, brewing thus the beer delicious in the hottest days of summer, on the foggy promontory, on the island forest covered, poured into birch-wood barrels, into hogsheads made of oak wood. Thus did Osmotar of Kalev brew together hops and barley, could not generate the ferment. Thinking long and long debating, thus she spake in troubled accents: "What will bring the effervescence? Who will add the needed factor, that the beer may foam and sparkle, may ferment and be delightful?" Kalevia, magic maiden, grace and beauty in her fingers, swiftly moving, lightly stepping, in her trimly buckled sandals, steps upon the birch-wood bottom, turns one way and then another. In the center of the cauldron finds within a splinter lying from the bottom, lifts the fragment, turns it in her fingers, musing. What may come of this I know not. In the hands of magic maidens, in the virgin hands of Kapo, snowy virgin of the Northland. Kalevia took the splinter to the magic virgin Kapo, who by unknown force and insight rubbed her hands and knees together, and produced a snow-white squirrel. Thus instructed she her creature, gave the squirrel these directions: "Snow-white squirrel, mountain jewel, flower of the field and forest, haste thee whither I would send thee, into Metsola's wide limits, into Tapu's seat of wisdom. Hasten through the heavy tree-tops, wisely through the thickest branches, that the eagle may not seize thee. Thus escape the bird of heaven. Bring me ripe cones from the fir tree. From the pine tree bring me seedlings. Bring them to the hands of Kapo, for the beer of Osmo's daughter." Quickly hastened forth the squirrel, quickly sped the nimble broad tail, swiftly hopping on its journey from one thicket to another, from the birch tree to the aspen, from the pine tree to the willow, from the sorb tree to the alder, jumping here and there with method, crossed the eagle woods in safety, into Metsola's wide limits, into Tapio's seat of wisdom. There perceived 3 magic pine trees, there perceived 3 smaller fir trees. Quickly climbed the dark green branches, was not captured by the eagle, was not mangled in his talons, broke the young cones from the fir tree, cut the shoots of pine tree branches, hid the cones within his pouches, wrapped them in his fur-grown mittens, brought them to the hands of Kapo, to the magic virgin's fingers. Kapo took the cones selected, laid them in the beer for ferment, but it brought no effervescence, and the beer was cold and lifeless. Asmotar, the beer preparer, Kapo, brewer of the liquor, deeply thought and long considered. What will bring the effervescence? Who will lend me aid efficient, that the beer may foam and sparkle, may ferment and be refreshing? Kalevia, sparkling maiden, grace and beauty in her fingers, softly moving, lightly stepping in her trimly buckled sandals, steps again upon the bottom, turns one way and then another, in the center of the cauldron, sees a chip upon the bottom, takes it from its place of resting, looks upon the chip and muses. What may come of this I know not. In the hands of mystic maidens, in the hands of magic Kapo, in the virgin's snow-white fingers. Kalevia took the birch chip to the magic maiden Kapo, gave it to the white-faced maiden Kapo, by the aid of magic, rubbed her hands and knees together, and produced a magic marten. The marten, golden-breasted, thus instructed her creature, gave the marten these directions. Thou, my golden-breasted marten, thou, my son of golden color, haste thou whither I may send thee, to the bear dens of the mountain, to the grottos of the growler. Gather yeast upon thy fingers, gather foam from lips of anger, from the lips of bears in battle. Bring it to the hands of Kapo, to the hands of Osmo's daughter. Then the marten, golden-breasted, full consenting, hastened onward, quickly bounding on his journey, lightly leaping through the distance, leaping o'er the widest rivers, leaping over rocky fissures, to the bear dens of the mountain, to the grottos of the growler, where the wild bears fight each other, where they pass a dread existence, iron rocks their softest pillows in the fastnesses of mountains. From their lips the foam was dripping, from their tongues the froth of anger. This the marten deftly gathered, brought it to the maiden Kapo, laid it in her dainty fingers. Asmotar, the beer preparer, brewer of the beer of barley, used the beer foam as a ferment, but it brought no effervescence, did not make the liquor sparkle. Asmotar, the beer preparer, thought again and long debated. Who or what will bring the ferment, that my beer may not be lifeless? Kalevia, magic maiden, grace and beauty in her fingers, softly moving, lightly stepping, in her trimly buckled sandals, steps again upon the bottom, turns one way and then the other, in the center of the cauldron, sees a pod upon the bottom, lifts it in her snow-white fingers, turns it o'er, and muses. What may come of this I know not. In the hands of magic maidens, in the hands of mystic Kapo, in the snowy virgin's fingers, Kalevia, sparkling maiden, gave the pod to magic Kapo. Kapo, by the aid of magic, rubbed the pod upon her kneecap, and a honey bee came flying from the pod within her fingers. Kapo thus addressed her birdling: Little bee with honeyed winglets, king of all the fragrant flowers, fly thou whither I direct thee, to the islands in the ocean, to the water cliffs and grottos, where asleep a maid has fallen, girdled with a belt of copper. By her side are honey grasses, by her lips are fragrant flowers. Herbs and flowers, honey laden, gather there the sweetened juices. Gather honey on thy winglets, from the calceus of flowers, from the tips of 7 petals. Bring it to the hands of Kapo,
to the hands of Osmo's daughter. Then the bee, the swift-winged birdling, flew away with lightning swiftness on his journey to the islands, o'er the high waves of the ocean. Journeyed one day, then a second, journeyed all the next day onward, till the third day evening brought him to the islands in the ocean. To the water cliffs and grottos found the maiden sweetly sleeping in her silver tinselled raiment, girdled with a belt of copper, in a nameless meadow, sleeping in the honey fields of magic. By her side were honeyed grasses, by her lips were fragrant flowers. Silver stalks with golden petals dipped its winglets in the honey, dipped its fingers in the juices of the sweetest of the flowers, brought the honey back to Kapo, to the mystic maiden's fingers. Osmotar, the beer preparer, placed the honey in the liquor. Kapo mixed the beer and honey, and the wedding beer fermented. Rose the live beer upward, upward, from the bottom of the vessels, upward in the tubs of birchwood, foaming higher, 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 till it touched the oaken handles, overflowing all the cauldrons. To the ground it foamed and sparkled, sank away in sand and gravel. Time had gone but little distance, scarce a moment had passed over, ere the heroes came in numbers to the foaming beer of Northland, rushed to drink the sparkling liquor. Ere all others, Lemminkainen drank and grew intoxicated on the beer of Osmo's daughter, on the honey drink of Kalev. Osmotar, the beer preparer, Kapo, brewer of the barley, spake these words in saddened accents. Woe is me, my life hard fated! Badly have I brewed the liquor, have not brewed the beer in wisdom, will not live within its vessels, overflows and fills Pohyola. From the tree-top sings the redbreast, from the aspen calls the robin. Do not grieve, thy beer is worthy, put it into oaken vessels, into strong willing barrels, firmly bound with hoops of copper. Thus was brewed the beer of Northland at the hands of Osmo's daughter. This the origin of brewing beer from Kalev, hops and barley. Great indeed the reputation of the ancient beer of Kalev, said to make the feeble hardy, famed to dry the tears of women, famed to cheer the broken-hearted, make the aged young and supple, make the timid brave and mighty, make the brave man even braver, fill the heart with joy and gladness, fill the mind with wisdom sayings, fill the tongue with ancient legends, only makes the fool more foolish. When the hostess of Pohyola heard how beer was first fermented, heard the origin of brewing, straightway did she fill with water many oaken tubs and barrels, filled but half the largest vessels, mixed the barley with the water, added also hops abundant. Well she mixed the triple forces in her tubs of oak and birch wood, heated stones for months succeeding, thus to boil the magic mixture, steeped it through the days of summer, burned the wood of many forests, emptied all the springs of Pohya. Daily did the forests lessen, and the wells gave up their waters, thus to aid the hostess Louis in the brewing of the liquors, from the water, hops, and barley, and from honey of the islands, for the wedding feast of Northland, for Pohyola's great carousal and rejoicings at the marriage of the Maiden of the Rainbow, to the blacksmith Ilmarinen, metal worker of Wainola. Smoke is seen upon the island, fire upon the promontory, black smoke rising to the heavens from the fire upon the island. Fills the clouds the half of Pohya, fills Karelan's many hamlets. All the people look and wonder. 'Tis the chorus of the women. Once saw rising all these smoke clouds, why this dreadful fire in Northland is not like the smoke of campfires, is too large for fires of shepherds. Lemminkainen's ancient mother journeyed in the early morning for some water to the fountain, saw the smoke arise to heaven in the region of Pohyola. These the words the mother uttered. 'Tis the smoke of battle heroes, from the beat of warring armies. Even Ahti, island hero, ancient wizard, Lemminkainen, also known as Kaukomieli, looked upon the scene in wonder, thought a while, and spake as follows: "I would like to see this nearer, learn the cause of all this trouble. Whence this smoke and great confusion, whether smoke from heat of battle, or the bonfires of the shepherds?" Kaukomieli gazed and pondered, studied long the rising smoke clouds. Came not from the heat of battle, came not from the shepherd bonfires. Heard they were the fires of Louhi, brewing beer in Sariola on Pohjola's promontory. Long and oft looked Lemminkainen, strained in eagerness his vision, stared and peered, and thought and wondered, looked abashed and envy-swollen. "O beloved second mother, Northland's well-intentioned hostess, brew thy beer of honey flavor, make thy liquors foam and sparkle, for thy many friends invited, brew it well for Lemminkainen, for his marriage in Pohjola with the maiden of the rainbow." Finally the beer was ready, beverage of noble heroes, stored away in casks and barrels, there to rest awhile in silence, in the cellars of the Northland, in the copper-banded vessels, in the magic oaken hogsheads, plugs and faucets made of copper. Then the hostess of Pohjola skillfully prepared the dishes, laid them all with careful fingers in the boiling pans and kettles, ordered countless loaves of barley, ordered many liquid dishes, all the delicacies of Northland, for the feasting of her people, for their richest entertainment, for the nuptial songs and dances, at the marriage of her daughter with the blacksmith Ilmarinen. When the loaves were baked and ready, when the dishes were all seasoned, time had gone but little distance, scarce a moment had passed over, ere the beer in casks imprisoned loudly rapped and sang and murmured, "Come, ye heroes, come and take me! Come and let me cheer your spirits, make you sing the songs of wisdom, that with honor ye may praise me, sing the songs of beer immortal." Straightway Louhi sought a minstrel, magic bard, and artist singer, that the beer might well be lauded, might be praised in song and honor. First as bard they brought a salmon, also brought a pike from ocean, but the salmon had no talent, and the pike had little wisdom. Teeth of pike and gills of salmon were not made for singing legends. Then again they sought a singer, magic minstrel, beer enchanter, thus to praise the drink of heroes, sing the songs of joy and gladness. And a boy was brought for singing, but the boy had little knowledge, could not praise the beer in honor. Children's tongues are filled with questions. Children cannot speak in wisdom, cannot sing the ancient legends. Stronger grew the beer imprisoned in the copper-banded vessels, locked behind the copper faucets, boiled and foamed, and sang and murmured, "If you do not bring a singer that will sing my worth immortal, that will sing my praise deserving, I will burst these bands of copper, burst the heads of all these barrels. Will not serve the best of heroes till he sings my many virtues." Louhi, hostess of Pohjola, called a trusted maiden servant, sent her to invite the people to the marriage of her daughter. These the words that Louhi uttered: "O my trusted, truthful maiden, servant maid to me belonging, call together all my people, call the heroes to my banquet. Ask the rich and ask the needy, ask the blind and deaf and crippled. Ask the young and ask the aged. Go thou to the hills and hedges, to the highways and the byways. Urge them to my daughter's wedding. Bring the blind and sorely troubled in my boats upon the waters. In my sledges bring the halting, with the old and sick and needy. Ask the whole of Sariola, ask the people of Karelan, ask the ancient Wainamoinen, famous bard and wisdom singer. But I give command explicit not to ask wild Lemminkainen, not the island dweller Ahti." This the question of the servant: "Why not ask wild Lemminkainen, ancient islander and minstrel?" Louhi gave this simple answer:
Good the reasons that I give thee, why the wizard Lemminkainen must not have an invitation to my daughter's feast and marriage. Ahti courts the heat of battle, Lemminkainen fosters trouble, skilful fighter of the virtues, evil thinking, acting evil. He would bring but pain and sorrow, he would jest and jeer at maidens in their trimly buckled raiment, cannot ask the evil-minded.
Thus again the servant questions. Tell me how to know this Ahti, also known as Lemminkainen, that I may not ask him hither. Do not know the isle of Ahti, nor the home of Kaukomiele. Spake the hostess of Pohjola. Easy 'tis to know the wizard, easy find the Ahti dwelling. Ahti lives on yonder island, on that point dwells Lemminkainen, in his mansion near the water, far at sea his home and dwelling. Thereupon the trusted maiden spread the wedding invitations to the people of Pohjola, to the tribes of Kalevia. Ask the friendless, ask the homeless, ask the laborers and shepherds, ask the fishermen and hunters, ask the deaf, the dumb, the crippled, ask the young, and asked the aged, asked the rich, and asked the needy.
Did not give an invitation to the reckless Lemminkainen, island dweller of the ocean.
End of Rune 20. Recording by Joseph Tabler.